to you guys.
Well, we're very happy to have you. Welcome,
Thank
Cheryl. Thank you.
Yay.
So Cheryl, what we do is we at our meetings, we the first Wednesday of every month, we I'm just kind of going to pretty much go down the agenda, but it's very open to to share what you want to talk about, or if you have any input on a particular item, and also anything new that to be discussed later on in the meeting. Unfortunately, things have been kind of not as active for us, but that's really because of the whole the situation. That's what everyone even calls it at school now. No one says pandemic, and everyone just says the situation.
I think that's a challenge now, to try and have a conversation throughout the day without saying COVID.
Gotta say the situation. Based on the situation, we blah blah. Yes. So, all right. So, welcome to the February 3rd meeting of the Conservation Commission. It is nice to see everybody, and welcome to, like I said, our new guest, our newest member, Cheryl. I would like to actually, if I may, take this opportunity to kind of almost have a moment of silence for Stephanie, who we know that we lost several weeks ago. So
Oh, that's okay.
So I know a lot of us expressed our thoughts and memories of Stephanie, and from what I knew of her, being on the commission 10 years, she really cared about the town, cared about the commission, and per Alice's suggestion, or maybe this was her family suggestion, to do something perhaps at the nature center for her, when things warm up a little bit. So. All right, I'm going to move into our first, or our agenda items, which is, let me bring this up here. We have the minutes from the previous meeting, which was a January 6th. I don't have any issues with that. There was one little typo in there, but it's not a big deal. There's a weird character in there at some point, but and other than that, I didn't see anything amiss in there. I don't know if anyone else did.
I'd move to accept as presented.
Okay, thank you, Marge. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes from the previous meeting pass. That will now bring us to guest and public comments. Seeing that, and Cheryl is actually not a guest. She's a member of the commission, or an alternate, so welcome. Correspondence.
Get two letters today, actually, and they were both about Stephanie. From Barbara Uziel, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Please find and close a check for $50 in memory of Stephanie Landis to be used for upkeep of the wildflower garden of the Nature Center.
Oh.
And
good.
Another one from Jan Stanko, encloses my donation in memory of my dear friend Stephanie Landis. I specifically request that this go into a fund to continue the work of her favorite project, Chrissy's Wildflower Garden. It will be such a pleasure to be able to continue visiting her happy place. Thank you to the commission for your work in providing this wonderful place for our town. Sincerely, Jan Stanko. To this effect, I will deposit, they each gave $50. I'll deposit it into the Nature Center account. And I have been speaking with Stephanie's daughter, Tracy, about what to do for Stephanie. And one of the thoughts has been a bench at Chrissy's garden, and perhaps a tree nearby. And if you'd like me to, I could talk to Mary Knox about a bench that would, could have some sort of plaque on it, see what that costs.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, and I know Tracy and her family want to do something at the nature center, as Jeffrey said, when things get a little more normal. So I'll pass this on to her, and any other donations I'll collect as well, and we can go from there.
Excuse me, Alice,
Yes,
Diane, could you just send me an email tomorrow with the correct spelling of those folks' names?
sure. I will do
Thank
that.
you.
Mhm.
Does the commission send something back to them now, or how would you suggest we do anything, Alice?
Yeah, I mean, we could send something to them thanking them and saying we've passed it on to Tracy and we're going to work on something. I'll write something up and give it to Jeffrey that he can send to them.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
Okay.
Can the Conservation Commission make a monetary pledge to the Chrissy's Garden in memory of Stephanie? With some of our monies, or?
I don't know if it works that way because we're taking our money and giving it to us. I'm not sure.
If we have,
we can allocate funds for that purpose, right?
Yes, to a degree. If it's over 5,000, we need to get bids for whatever it is we're going to
Well,
do.
yeah.
But yeah.
So
we
yeah,
have
so
money.
we can allocate anything under that amount to do something.
Right. And
For sure.
speaking of which, we have, I believe we have an invoice. Tracy found it on Stephanie's desk after she died, for $3,900 for Shakespeare's. So I have to look into that. I think it's for all the work they did to do the plantings. And then going forward, we have to look at what we're going to do for maintenance.
You know, I'll look into the Alice because I think we paid that back in August or September.
I remember something already being paid, but
We had
there was,
approved that, yeah.
there were
paid
two
that-
parts of it, right? Weren't there
Yeah,
two parts?
we paid $39.20 back in when it first started last summer.
That was
and-
to clear it all.
Right, and I think we owe another $39.20 for the plantings. But I'll look into it and check.
Okay. All right, that'll take us to treasurer's report.
I have another correspondence.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
So I received today an email from the Giving Garden folks. And I guess it's finally in response to the email that I had sent to them back maybe early December. And I'll read a little bit and I'll forward this to everyone. I'll just read a part of it. It says 2020 was a challenging year in several ways, not the least of which was that we had multiple late frosts in the spring, resulting in our first two plantings having to be redone. With COVID-19, we didn't dare do our traditional all hands on deck planting day in May, so had only a small group of mentors on hand to plant and replant, but we made it work. Between the late start and some subsequent pest issues, the heartbreak of growing a fully organic garden, we had a somewhat lighter year than usual, but still managed to distribute approximately 950 pounds of produce.
That was a lot of tomatoes. They had wonderful tomatoes this year. Cheryl, just so you know, that's the Giving Garden on Nabby Road.
So it goes on to say our primary recipient was the Brookfield Food Pantry, where we try to deliver twice a week. Other recipients in Danbury, unless otherwise noted, included the Salvation Army Food Pantry, Renewal House, and Loaves and Fishes Pantry in New Milford, with occasional drop-offs at Dorothy Day Soup Kitchen and Daily Bread Pantry. And they say if we are aware of any other potential recipients, do let them know.
Very nice.
What a great letter. Very nice.
Very
Garden helped
nice.
a lot of people.
Absolutely. And I know that students from Bethel High School also did something there in the fall as well with the Giving Garden. So, and yeah, it's a very big project. I think bigger than people realize. or that was the point of that, right? Just to show that this is all the things they do from this garden, right? Thank you, Tony. Yeah, Tony, is there any way we could get that? Was that an email or an actual letter?
It was an email, and I will forward it to you all.
Okay, thank you. Any other correspondence about treasurer's report?
Nothing's changed on that one.
Okay. If you look at the agenda, those items were kind of old items from last time. The spending projects, the wildlife encounters course, election of officers, which we took care of. And the wildlife encounters course, I haven't heard anything from Summer Hogan Boom since December, so I don't think she's planning anything currently. So that will actually take us to new business. I actually have a lot more to add here under new business, but right now I just see 6A Gursky improvements. So one thing I would like to do with Julie's permission, because Julie, you took those pictures. I would love to if I can, somehow Alice, share my screen and then show everyone the pictures that Julie took. And Julie, perhaps you could speak to those. As I put up the pictures, because I know you did visit Gursky, obviously a couple weeks ago before the snow.
Yeah.
So
You should be co-host.
I should be.
No, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get there in a second. So Julie, if you wanna start, I know that you that you had a lot of suggestions for Gursky on your last visit there.
Yeah, the main reason I visited was because we had talked about planting more apple trees, because some of the apple trees that were planted several years ago by a bunch of volunteers had been weed whacked to death. So we talked about wanting to replace them. So I had communicated with Alice about replacing some apple trees there. And Rob and I just walked around, and I thought about the the barn quilt project, and I wasn't sure where we had thought about doing that, but I wanted to look at the barn there to see, maybe that would be a spot for it if nobody had any other suggestions. And while I was looking at it, I noticed that one of those small windows around the corner that usually I think had like a screen or some fencing over it was broken. There's nothing there. So animals, that's the picture I think right there. Animals can get in there, and it needs to have some kind of a screen put over it. It's in the upper left-hand corner. That little white box is actually a window that doesn't have anything in it. And there's all that brush around there, and there's some rotting wood on the bottom in the foreground of that section of the building. And I know that we went through a lot of effort, Alice and Mac went through a lot of effort to have, that barn kind of shored up and a new roof put on. And maybe we should consider investing a little bit of money to make sure that the wood that is along the ground anyway, maybe get replaced, or some kind of a protective thing put there, and close up that window so no people. I mean, it's a very attractive nuisance for kids to get in there too. And that picture there is the, I think it's an old root cellar, right, Alice?
Yeah.
I don't know if we just want to keep that open, having a door, somebody's just going to break it down, but I just thought I'd take a picture of it. It looked like there had been some parties going on in there. It's harmless, I guess, but if that's something we want to think about doing anything about, I don't know. Oh, and those blue, I don't know what those are, if they're supposed to be there or if somebody dumped them there. Those drums.
I don't know. They've been there for a while. I'll ask Public Works about that.
Okay.
And that porta potty is still there too, isn't it?
Yes, I saw. I did not take a picture of the porta potty.
Yeah, but such a random thing to have that there.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't-
know why that's there. Was it? I
asked I asked Mary in Parks and Rec if they had put it there, and she was going to look into it, and I haven't heard back. She didn't put it there, but she was going to look
Okay.
into it.
So,
Okay, yeah,
so
that-
Julie, this picture, you're saying replacing this wood here, this siding.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. It just seems like I saw decaying wood there along the foundation. And if it's not going to get better and it won't stay the same, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I can pass on to you the restoration numbers that Mac and I got about 5 years ago from a company in Massachusetts for restoration of the barn. It's very complicated.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Oh,
it's-
no, I don't think I can just come in here and say, "Oh, let's fix this." I know
Well-
it's very involved. I just saw it and I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, the joists no longer meet the walls. It's very messy inside and quite dangerous.
Yeah.
So, maybe putting something over that window makes sense, and then just stepping away
Okay.
for the time being.
If we hit something with a hammer, the whole thing comes down.
Well, we can discuss I can send everybody the estimate we got. It's several years old now, but it'll give you an idea of what's involved.
Okay.
Look at that.
So we
And-
could all look at it and then we could talk about it next time.
Yeah.
And Julie, this is where you're suggesting to put a quilt.
Again, I don't know if anybody had thought of any other places, but
Oh,
and
you know,
now Alice
about-
is
How about
What?
Erickson?
I'd like to speak on that.
yeah.
seeing
Yeah,
that-
Marge, in the minutes, actually, let's wrap up Gursky first before we get to the quilt, because I know that was also in the minutes from last
Okay.
meeting about getting more information on that. But and so Julie, you're suggesting to really start to look into this and put some money into the improvements here at Gursky.
Well, just because it's part of the property and the house looks so wonderful, and I don't want the barn to just become one of those structures that falls down. I mean, the roof got fixed, and I think that's a huge part of it.
Yep.
But I don't mean to say that it should be completely renovated. We're not going to dump hundreds of thousands of dollars into it, but I think we should look at maybe making some kind of improvements to make it not something that people can walk into and explore inside by any means, but maybe just protect it to keep the wood from rotting more.
Stabilize it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what stabilize. I don't know. I'm
Well,
not
right
a
now-
contractor.
It is stabilized on the interior with cables. It's held together with cables.
Okay.
The rest is just kind of floating in air.
Does it kind of give in the report that you have, Alice? Does it give a, let's do this because it needs to have this to keep it from falling down, or?
It has steps in it. I'll send it to everybody. We can review and discuss next meeting.
Okay.
I think that would be the best thing to do.
All right.
Yeah.
And the apple trees, Alice, I know you said you you had ordered apple trees to be planted
Yes.
at Gursky. 6 new ones, right?
Is that
Was it? No, I don't think it was 6. I think it was 4, right?
Yeah.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I ordered
when
those-
do those come, Alice?
I ordered them through Northwest Conservation District, and they usually come on Earth Day or the weekend before Earth Day.
So we could have like an event for planting them, maybe?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Absolutely.
I'll ask them when they're coming, since this year's got a little bit of a situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna now turn it to Marge. In the I know at our last meeting, we talked about finding out more information about the barn quilt. And Marge, you mentioned about speaking with Sue Bailey, who's, has information on this.
And I'm sorry to say that things have come up, but I definitely will before our next meeting. I will, I don't know if any of you have been on the New Milford Barn Trail quilt trail.
No, I want to.
Well, Julie, I should get you some information on it then, because it's really enlightening. And I will get some more information from Sue on financial obligations, this whole thing. And I'll just try to get something together so everybody can, get involved. I'm glad to see that there's interest in it. And keep your eyes open for, like in New Milford, I think there's probably 12, 15 barns that have quilts on them. And keep your eye on barns in Brookfield that might apply, that we could, see if we can get permission to do this. And, other Gursky, there's, look around, see how many old barns there are. It's kind of interesting because they do pop up at you.
Have you thought about a place to put it, Marge?
It would be easier if you saw what New Milford has done. It would obviously should be on the roadside, I think.
Okay.
Because although public property, people can drive in. But when they set up the trail, you should be able to, see them from the road. Can't go on private property, to see the barn quilts.
And Marge, these are all like
one from the New Milford one. They really are. It's really great. There's a lot of them in New Milford.
Yeah, I think I'm sharing it now. These aren't just like random designs either. They all have some kind of a symbolic purpose behind them.
Yep.
There's a Holstein one here. There's the which one is it?
Up where Sue Bailey lives, they have a number of cows on them.
Maple leaf.
I wish that we could meet in person and I could show you all the what I have from the Milford Trail quilts, because it's great. They really are.
Well, Jeff is showing pictures. Can you see where? Maybe you're not seeing it, but he's showing us the pictures of a bunch of them. Are those all in New Milford, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we are seeing them.
Oh, good. Okay.
This is Diane. I know I'm not a part of your commission.
But you're interested, Diane.
Well, I just wanted to add, I think there's also an opportunity for local artists and or students to get involved in the project too. I think a couple of the barn quilts were put together by high school students who actually did the painting and designing of them. So, there's a lot to it. It could really be a really good community-based project to bring people together.
And raise awareness for conservation.
Yes,
yeah,
that too.
And that because it is a huge project.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're light. So if you have a wobbly barn, you may not be able to attach it.
No wobbly barns.
They're very nice. Yes.
I'm glad to see that you're interested. Really.
Is it a piece of? Is it wood? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a big piece of wood screwed to the side of the barn.
Okay.
Are they different pieces of wood that's like a puzzle that gets put together, or?
I think that there's different styles. Some of them are just, a large painting. Some of them are, put together like in pieces. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and is there like a sealant over it? How would we keep it maintained if it? I guess that's something.
I don't have that information, but I'm sure that all the work that Sue Bailey put into it, that she would.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that.
I have one on my barn that I bought down in Amish country or something, and it's just there. And I don't maintain it, and it still looks good. I mean, it was painted and.
Yeah, it looks great. Really does.
So we want to think about putting it on property that belongs to the town, right? Or
anyone, not necessarily, but in addition, others, it doesn't have to be town owned because there's only a couple barns that are town owned,
Right.
Okay.
Is this something that would make sense to see if anyone on the Arts Commission might want to jointly get involved with us on?
That I don't know. I don't know anything about the Arts Commission.
I don't either.
Are you on it, Tony?
No, I'm not, but someone told me recently there was an opening on it. That's why I thought of it.
Yeah. I don't know anything about it.
I know of somebody that I used to be a Girl Scout leader with who's an artist, who I know would probably love to get involved with it, but maybe we'll talk to once we get to talk to the other lady that you were talking about, Marge, we could get some more detail.
Yep. Great.
All right. Thank you, Marge. So
Okay.
I have two other things left. One is getting back to the kiosk business at Erickson. I know we've talked about that for a few meetings. Putting more information in that kiosk at Erickson, some information about the property itself, and then some information maybe from the Giving Garden and what they do there. Which is like which we can obviously take that email you got, Tony, and put information or create signage from that. But also, if I'm going to share this again, sorry guys, I'm going to go to the not this. I'm sorry, not that. Yes, this is for those of you who can see, this is from the trail guide that we did. And one of the things I was thinking is we could take this page out of the trail guide and just make it into a sign that fits the kiosk. That's one easy option to do here. It has some pictures, it has some information there about the property. It has one of our simplified maps as well. And this would probably take up about half the face of a kiosk space. So that's one option we could explore if we wanted.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
Might be consistent with some of the other ones that we have as well. So,
sure. Has anybody been there recently? Did you see the little Girl Scout project that's pinned up there?
No.
It's just it's a tick bag, like what to do if you find a tick and where to bring it to check it for Lyme disease. It's like a tick kit.
Huh.
I didn't know that they did that.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still there, but it was there when I was there. Cheryl, did you notice it? Have you been there recently? I know you saw. I saw.
We were there this weekend, and it's still there.
Okay.
Okay.
We have been talking. A lot of the same people use the field all the time. The uptick in the amount of people using the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going there now. I think it's even with the snow, I saw cross-country ski marks.
Okay.
Oh.
Which is awesome.
All right, and so I'll pursue that and see what I could get for a cost and all that. I know it'll be like $150 or something just to get the sign, and I could easily put it up. Another thing was am I still sharing my screen or no?
No, it's just you.
Okay, so the thing that the last thing that I have to bring up actually also stems from last meeting, and it's another thing that you had brought up, Julie, about the deed at Erickson. So while we're on the Erickson subject, and I know Alice had emailed us some information on that. So one thing I want to share with everyone is the current deed here from this was April 1st, 2004. And we have the infamous paragraph here of the premises is conveyed subject to the restriction that it shall be maintained by the town of Brookfield as open space land, permanently preserved for agriculture. There it is, recreation, parentheses, including ball fields, wildlife habitat, maintenance of community character, or as undeveloped land. So, and then said premises are conveyed subject to. And I know Alice had emailed a more detailed easement description. But the other thing that Alice had suggested, though, was how to rewrite it exactly, right, Alice? To rewrite it in kind of this manner, which is, if I can enlarge this a little bit here, that the, come on. The premises is conveyed subject to the restriction that shall be maintained by the town of Brookfield as open space land, permanently preserved for agriculture, passive recreation, wildlife. So you're basically taking out the parentheses on the ball fields, right, Alice?
Yeah.
And, also in speaking with Tom Beecher, you had mentioned that in order to change the wording, you have it here, you would need to get approval from the board and likely a town meeting and planning commission approval. So I guess that the next question that comes from this is, before we go about maybe rewriting this or proposing a change, do we want to pursue this? And I know, Julie, you mentioned to kind of prevent this issue from coming up again in the future because it is such an appealing piece of land where we might fight these battles again in the future where people might want to develop it for ball field use, correct?
I don't want to go through that again.
So that's, I think that's the first question or thing that we need to decide is do we want to pursue this? And if so, then we could work on how we want it worded and whatnot. So, I'll leave it open to discussion if we want to pursue that.
I mean, I think we should, and it's, if only just so that not, like I said, next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, that property is always protected. It's, everything's getting built up around it. And if we could keep that the way it is forever, that would be what I think Marge really sorry, Marge. What I think
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Erickson really wanted.
All right. So you guys agree that something we should pursue. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good. I'll add that, a year or so ago when the big discussion about the ball fields going there was in peak interest time, I did have a conversation with Mike Mattson, and he said that Gertrude's intent was never to have ball fields there, and that an earlier version of this did not include that parenthetical statement, and that was sort of a last minute addition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of, I'm just curious of the process. Like, why do we need to have a town meeting, I guess, is my basic question. It's changing the use of the property, so the whole town has to, not the whole town, but whoever goes to a town meeting, it's just a show of hands. Is that what it means? I mean, a big vote costs a ton of money, doesn't it?
It would just be a show of hands. It would just be a public meeting. So
okay.
You would announce it, you'd do it legally, you'd publicly notice it twice.
Okay.
And then they just have a show of hands.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's completely required. We could find out from Tom Beecher if you want me to pursue it.
Yeah, is
Please.
that something you can do, or do we need to write a letter requesting it? What do you suggest?
Yeah, you'll have to write up the wording that you guys want for the deed, and then I could present it to the office could send it to the first selectman and see where it goes from there.
Okay. Cheryl, did you want to add anything about this? Like what are your thoughts on this? Because you're familiar with Erickson and what has been happening there over the past year, have you?
Yes, I'm very familiar with it from gathering a lot of information, talking to Mike Matson. And I also agree with everything Tony and Julie said, that
Okay.
her intention was to keep it open space.
Okay. I will, so if we all agree that this is something we shall pursue, I will, I'll take this and I'll take the, what Alice had sent, and I'll write up something, to this, similar to this, and then, bring it back to the group or pass it through you, Alice, to go to the selectman or to the attorney. Does that have to go to selectman first or the attorney first?
I think I'd have the attorney look at it first and just verify what the procedure would be for a situation like this.
Okay, so should I rewrite this whole thing, like to all persons, blah, 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 and then just add in the changes that we make?
Yeah, maybe just take the paragraph, the premises is conveyed, and change that to whatever wording you want.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I will definitely work on that and get that to you.
Even as simply as just taking out the parentheses, including ball fields.
Yeah,
That might do it.
I think
Yeah,
exactly
and
that.
maybe we, in the letter we send to the town, we could just say, our intent here is, we would like to keep it as it was intended as open space. And ask the attorney or whoever.
Yeah. Okay.
Will this work? Is this what we're looking for? Or should we do something else? And
But
then I
you
think
also,
what they do is just file a new, they file the deed with the new Schedule A on it.
Right. Well, I think what you need to do first is probably make a motion and have a vote to pursue it.
Okay.
pursue it from us.
Yeah.
Like have a vote from us to pursue it.
Right. And then
Okay.
you could write the wording, Jeffrey, and
Yep.
send that, and I could send that and the approval to the town attorney, and then
Okay.
we'll find out where to go from there.
Yeah, the other thing I'm now thinking of as I'm reading this over and over, you still have the word recreation in there. So isn't that something that can be interpreted as ball fields without even saying ball fields in parentheses?
That's why I was saying, ask the attorney.
Yeah, you could make it a little more specific. Passive recreation is what normally is worded.
So passive recreation is not ball fields.
Right. It would be walking, skiing,
Okay. All right.
but we can make sure. We'll tell them what the intention is. If you want to just write up a little something.
Okay. So I will make a motion to change the wording of the current deed to the Erickson property to prevent the issue of ball field usage in the future.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Marge?
I'm not sure I like that wording. I
Okay.
think that just eliminate the in parentheses in the original. I'm not sure we want to have those words in there, but I could be wrong.
Preventing ball field usage? Yeah, maybe it is too specific.
Well, I thought the motion was just to pursue coming up with the right set of words, that we weren't voting on the actual wording at this time.
Yes, Tony. Yeah. So Marge, Marge, what are you thinking? We're just voting to officially go ahead and rewrite it. That's
Actually,
all.
you know what, Jeffrey? I'm sorry. Why don't you just, if you guys want to do that, then we'll get all the paperwork together, and next time you can make the motion with the wording.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Very clean.
Very good.
All right.
Okay.
So that's
This is Diane. Just to clarify in the minutes, there is no motion at this point.
motion canceled.
Got it.
Thank you,
So
Diane.
that's what I have on my end. What I want to do is just go around real quick with everyone and any new business or anything that you want to add for the FTGO for the good of the order. And I'll start with Marge.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right. Julie,
Yes, I'm fine.
anything more to add? Anything for the good of the order?
No, no. Just as far as the sign at the kiosk for Erickson, on the copy of the map that you're putting up there, can we also accompany it with like is there like a set of, I don't want to sound too strict, but like a set of rules, like your dog has to be under control, please pick up after your animals, that type of thing in the kiosk right next to it?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. That's the only other thing I'm thinking of.
Okay. Tony.
I have nothing further to add tonight.
Okay. Cheryl.
I'm glad to be here.
Yay. Welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
happy to have you.
Yeah, that was what you just saw was a pretty common meeting from us, I would say, right? I mean, similar length, subject matter.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, Alice, you're next. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted you to know that I've been in, I don't remember her first name. Her last name is Schilling, has a
Donna.
horse and a cart that no, it's not Donna.
Her daughter-in-law?
I don't know. But a woman has been taking the cart, and Julie mentioned it last time, onto Erickson and riding her horse around. She wanted to know if she could store the cart in the barn, and I said she should come to the commission and she could ask, and then we would have her sign a hold harmless, and she said no thank you. So just so you know.
Okay.
So that's an open and shut case.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Al.
What do you mean? What do you mean by cart out? Because I thought Julie said it was a sled and a horse-drawn sled.
Well, I think there was both. There was somebody that took a picture of a horse with a sled, but then there's also somebody that has a cart, like with wheels, being pulled by a horse.
Okay.
And the reason I bring it up is because I figure Marge might know her mother or sister or
I
brother
do.
or whatever. So
I do.
I think it's great that they're there. I just don't think we should be in the business of storing people's equipment.
Yes.
I think you're right. You're right.
All right. So I guess that's it. Diane, did you want to add anything?
No, I'm fine. I just just listening. Thank you, though.
I should mention there's one other thing. Sorry. Is it Birch Rocks down by Lillanona?
Lillanona Woods, perhaps?
Birch Rocks is on.
There is Birch Rocks there, yeah.
That's the trail that goes down along Lake Lillanona, right?
yeah, it's on by Weontenog, or now there's something else. They're not Weontenog anymore.
The northeast something, yeah.
Yeah, but my husband and I went with some family members, and there was a ton of people hiking.
Oh, great.
Yes,
a lot of cars, a couple of them from New York State. There were a lot of cars in the parking lot.
That is a very nice trail. They did a nice job with that. They really did. That was originally Bosley, so they did a nice job with that trail. And they had that new parking area off of North Obtuse. It's very nice.
Yeah, and a Boy Scout helped reblaze the trail a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It was a proud moment.
Yes, very nice. All right, guys. Well, thank you. And I guess that will conclude the meeting. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. So welcome. Have a great night, everybody. Nice to see everyone. See you in March 3rd. Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye.
Good meeting.